Well, joining me now is David Oglesby. He is a professor of geophysics at the University of California, Riverside. Hi there, Professor. Thank you for your time. We're seeing live pictures now of a rescue taking place. My first question, I guess, is I need to confirm first whether this rescue is based off of the last earthquake or the first two weeks ago. But would you be surprised, Professor, if there were still people alive under rubble 2 weeks after the first earthquakes?
Oh my goodness. Well, I am certainly no expert on rescue. It would seem I would be very surprised, I'm afraid to say, because unless somehow people were trapped in a situation where they had food and water and warmth, I know it would be very difficult to survive that long. So yeah, my heart really aches for the people who remain under this rubble.
All right, Professor, we're just getting word that this latest rescue mission is from tonight's earthquake. Can you confirm, because I feel as though different geophysicists give different responses in terms of how much longer can we expect aftershocks after the first earthquakes that we felt 2 weeks ago?
Well, certainly we can expect aftershocks for weeks and even months afterwards, because basically when a large earthquake happens, it readjusts the forces on all the nearby faults, and it essentially accelerates earthquakes on those nearby faults. And so often, from a seismological standpoint, we can see aftershocks for years after a major earthquake like this. Now, their frequency, how often they happen, goes down with time, and typically the size of the aftershocks goes down with time as well. But unfortunately, this magnitude 6.3 that we had today is a reminder that even weeks after an event, you can still have aftershocks of considerable size. So we should not be surprised at earthquakes of this size, this magnitude 6.3 or so, happening even weeks, perhaps even a couple of months into the future.
Can you explain in detail what exactly happens with the Earth's tectonic plates? Because people explain that the tectonic plates are grinding together, but what happens that causes a boom and an earthquake to take place?
So what's happening is the tectonic plates are sliding past each other at a relatively constant rate, at roughly the same rate that your fingernails are growing. And so that's why you don't notice it on a daily basis, because you don't notice your fingernails growing on a daily basis. But what's happening is on the plate boundaries, the plates are locked by friction. And so even though the plates themselves are moving on the surface of the Earth, the faults, which are often at the plate boundaries, are locked by friction. And so the forces build up for a long time, and then when the movement of the plates causes too much force on that plate boundary, on that fault, it slides all of a sudden, and that's the earthquake. It's a little bit like if you're trying to push a big heavy box across the floor. When you first start to push it, it doesn't move. And if you keep pushing harder and harder and harder, eventually it kind of moves all at once very rapidly. It's a very similar situation with earthquakes in the Earth.
Interesting analogy. All right, we'll have to leave it there, Professor David Oglesby from the University of California. Thank you for explaining that.